couple of short things before we go to Aziz channel. And these will be on your worksheet. As a human and a healer, you want to always stay open in your areas of learning and teaching, not just because you evolve, but so do the times and the collective energy of the world. And sometimes you resign from certain areas and ways of using your healing energy, and you use your healing energy in new or very different ways. This quote is from the Z's. The path of the light worker is constant change. The path of the healer is also constant change. Maybe your goal is, oh, if I could just for the next 20 years have X amount of clients a week, and then I can take care of my family or do my art or whatever the other thing is, and you feel really set about that, good for you, great. But the world will change and the needs of the world will change. And at the very least, even if you manifest 20 years with clients, what they need is going to adjust as the world is changing. So a few things for you to consider. Know that you can and should reinvent when necessary, or the more you do this work. Know that you can and should reinvent when necessary, or the more you do this work. I've reinvented my video energy updates multiple times over the 13 years I've done them. I've considered stopping them a few times, not for about the last 7 years, admittedly, but I was seriously considering stopping them, but it wasn't that I needed to stop, it was that I needed to reinvent the way I was not only doing those videos, but other areas of my work that felt like they were becoming stagnant. So, the path of the light worker is constant change. The path of the healer is to work with change in people and the changing energy of the world. So allow yourself to change too. You will change internally, you can change the form of how you do things. It can be most scary to change things that are quote unquote working or successful. But trust yourself. If you're feeling the nudge to do it slowly. Don't take massive risks, but start to slowly make some changes in that area. And if things keep flowing, then you can follow the flow. Number 2, know you will be actively learning and readjusting as you go. We learn on the job. That's true. You will constantly adjust how you do things. That's okay. That's someone who is staying alive as a healer. That's not someone who learnt a bunch of techniques and is standing in those techniques and not paying attention to the person in front of them, because that's a shadow for some healers too. Theme number 3, a different world calls for a different offering. The world is changing and so are healers. You might be ahead of your time with what you're inventing or what you're creating, and that's okay. We always need pioneers. Then we need the people who are hitting the mainstream. Then we need the people who are niche. All groups are required. So trust yourself with what you're doing. And finally, a different you calls for a reinvented offering. You are changing and so will your healing work too. I don't know about you, but I've gone through lots of changes the last few years, and I'm seeing how they permeate into my work and how I shift the way we do things. And that's never just about me in isolation, because in my work, I'm in relationship to an audience, and I have been for 21 years, and that's the group that I serve. So as we all shift together, it's like an ocean, and you have to know when it's time to shift the way that you're doing things. So I hope that some of those things have given you food for thought. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to, in a moment, channel my guides, the Z's, and we'll see what they have to say about becoming a next level healer. They will be a big part of the course, by the way. I will be channeling them. It will be probably 8 times throughout the course of the 8 different sections over the weekends. So, but before I do that, I just wanted to share with you a short video. One of the things that we're doing with Next Level Healer is community engagement in a new way. So I've asked participants who've already signed up for the course if they would just share videos, short videos explaining what it is they're working on, or what it is they're looking to become, or what their pain points are, so that not only do I get to know them, but they get to have the experience of sharing them, and we as a group get to see what healers worldwide are working on right now. So with the permission of the participants who agreed to let this be played during this broadcast, we've chosen a few just so you can get a feel for what some of our worldwide healers are working on. And when the video finishes, you'll come back here, I will have my eyes closed, and I will be channeling the Z's. So see you in a moment.
wanted to share with you what I love the most about my healing work. Undoubtedly, it's to be able to see that spark in someone's eyes when you've actually uncovered the why behind their problem. And that leads to healing, not just as a band-aid, but actually uncovering the cause. And when you figure out the cause, you're giving them so much of a tool for them to be able to always heal themselves when they're in a similar situation in their journey.
So my biggest challenges that I currently face in my healing work is definitely fear. Fear of negative outcomes, fear that things won't work out the right way, that maybe I'm doing something wrong, that maybe what I think is the right thing isn't necessarily the right thing. And just being able to really bathe in abundant faith is my biggest challenge.
So I trained as a craniosacral therapist and qualified last summer. I'm sort of having a bit of a lull and people aren't coming. I'm finding that that's really affecting my confidence. Yeah, I really want to heal whatever is still kind of limiting me and holding me back, and really step up and do this amazing work for as many people as I can.
Good, good. A pleasure to be with you, golden souls. Many of you have incarnated in this lifetime as healers. Some of you because it is the path you have walked before at other times in ancient history, both on Earth and off Earth. And many of you are here to bring back the energy technology of consciousness. You are aware that this is a time where consciousness is rising on Earth, which is also why the shadows are appearing in stronger ways. The cracks are appearing in stronger ways. But you are working on the side of consciousness and developing the consciousness, the healing, the hearts, and the wisdom of others. Some of you do this through bringing the body back to repair. Some of you do this through working with the subtle energy field. Some of you do this through guiding and inspiring and enlightening the mind. There are so many different ways and methods that are needed, and no one method is better than another. For example, there may be an individual on Earth who really only needs to unlock their mind. They already have a good alignment with their body, with their emotions, but their mind is perhaps a little rigid in its belief and therefore is blocking them from experiencing more. So they will go and look for mental healing in one way or another. And then there are others who are using healing to open up their feelings, their experiential way of living. But we want to speak to you about your path as a healer and why many of you incarnate as a healer. Many of you incarnate as a healer as your own path of awakening for a couple of different reasons. You work in this field, as you would call it, because it is an energy field you recognize. It is a high octave energy field, the field of transformation. And many of you remember this from before your incarnation, and you know it to be true. You know that transformation leads to oneness, and oneness is the original octave from which you were all created. So, you are returning to the origin, the source, and the creator when you approach the art and the science of healing. Healing is shifting energy with another being, and sometimes it is shifting the physical, but that always connects and relates to energy also. So the reason many of you incarnated as healers this time is because you wanted to awaken back into that energy field that makes the most sense to you. And you wish that the world looked a little more that way. Well, guess what you are doing as you conduct your healing work? You are creating more healed people, and more healed people will create more oneness on Earth. So, much like a gardener who may not live to see what the garden looks like in 200 or 300 years, but that is not their concern. They are dedicated to fertilizing the life in the garden, getting out the weeds, tending to the needs of the garden, going with each season in the garden, and being in relationship to it and being a custodian of it. They are doing their work to help a garden grow and become. Well, people are gardens for all of you, and you will be fertilizing the world with healed energy, which is why we always say, and Lee referred to this at the very beginning of this broadcast, the healer who works with one is as important as the healer who affects millions.
Embody your unique gifts as a healer.
I think for all of us, this is a next level time on earth, and therefore that means it's time for the healers of the world to go to the next level in their own ways of being and their ways of serving.
Next Level Healer with Lee Harris. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or just beginning, join us for channeled guidance, powerful teaching, community engagement, and supportive worksheets, and allow your gifts to bring change, healing, and elevation to the lives of others. Deepen your creative, intuitive, and visioning abilities, overcome fears of judgment, and expand your outlook from scarcity to abundance to enhance your healing work and guide others with greater clarity and confidence. From the comfort of your home, connect with us for 2 weekends, starting May 17th and 18th. Next Level Healer with Lee Harris. Take your healing to the next level.